let's cut through the noise, because this isn't just another motivational video. This is a wake-up call. Right now, at this very moment, you are either moving closer to your goals or drifting further away. There is no pause button on life. There is no holding pattern where your dreams wait patiently while you get your act together. There is only now, and what you do with it defines everything. But most people, they live in a fantasy they call later. Later, I'll start. Later, I'll commit. Later, I'll finally do what I know I need to do. It feels safe, logical, comfortable, but what they don't realize is that later is the greatest lie ever told. It's the most seductive form of self-destruction because it sounds like a plan when really it's an exit. It gives you the illusion of control while quietly stealing the very life you say you want. Every single dream that's ever died didn't die because it wasn't possible. It died because someone believed they had more time to fix it, more time to begin, more time to become who they were meant to be. But time doesn't wait, it moves on. And while you keep saying not yet, life keeps asking, why not now? This video isn't for those who want it easy. It's not for those waiting for the stars to align, the schedule to clear up, or motivation to magically appear. This is for those who are done lying to themselves, for those who know that every minute spent waiting is a minute wasted, for those who are finally ready to trade excuses for execution. You want a better body, a stronger mind, a business, a new life? Then start acting like it, not later, not when you feel like it, now, because that's all you have. And the longer you stall, the heavier the regret will be when you finally realize what you gave up for the illusion of comfort. The world is full of people with good intentions, dreams they'll get to. Oh, eventually. But life doesn't reward intention, it rewards action. In the end, you will look back and ask yourself one of two questions. What if I had started? Or, I'm glad I never gave up. You don't need more time, you need more truth. And the truth is simple, there is no later, only regret or results. Choose wisely. This moment, it's not waiting. The lie of later is killing your potential. You keep saying you'll start tomorrow. That tomorrow turns into next week. That week becomes next month. And before you know it, years pass. Dreams fade. Energy dies. And all you're left with is a heart full of excuses and a life that looks nothing like the one you imagined. Later is the most dangerous word you can believe in because it doesn't sound like failure. It sounds gentle, harmless, reasonable, but don't be fooled. Later is a thief. It's the soft lie that keeps you from the hard truth. Time doesn't care about your plans. Life is happening now. And the clock? It's not waiting for you to feel ready. You say you're waiting for the right moment, for more motivation, for a little clarity. But deep down, you're just avoiding the discomfort. You're scared of what happens if you give it your all and still fall short. So you delay, you justify, you make waiting sound like preparation. But you know what real preparation is? Action, movement, progress, even if it's messy. Because here's the truth. Every time you delay action, you strengthen the chains that hold you back. You build a habit of hesitating, of stalling, of becoming passive in your own story. And one day you'll look back and realize that you weren't waiting for the right time. You were just afraid to begin. But guess what? Fear isn't going anywhere. It doesn't disappear. It only gets weaker when you move forward despite it. You don't beat fear with more thinking. You beat it with action. Consistent, courageous, imperfect action. And what about regret? It's always quiet at first. It whispers, it waits, but it grows louder the more you ignore your calling, the more you run from your goals, the more you lie to yourself that later will finally come. But later never comes. It's either now or never. Either you use this day to move forward or you waste it like all the ones before it. You've been given this moment, that's it. That's all any of us are guaranteed. Not tomorrow, not next week, just now. So what are you going to do with it? You can keep waiting and live with regret. Or you can show up today and fight for results. Because in the end, life only gives you two options. Regret or results. Regret never asks permission. It just arrives. Regret doesn't knock. It doesn't give you a warning. It just shows up, sometimes quietly, sometimes all at once. And when it does, it brings with it a storm of memories, missed chances, and painful realizations of what could have been. You might think putting things off is harmless, that skipping today's effort is no big deal. But the truth is, every moment you delay, every excuse you entertain, every time you tell yourself, I'll do it later, you plant a seed. And that seed doesn't grow into success. It grows into regret. Regret is the cruelest teacher because by the time it shows up, it's already too late to go back and fix what you ignored. It doesn't wait for you to be emotionally ready. It just lands. heavy and unforgiving, showing you everything you didn't do while you had the chance. What makes regret so dangerous is that it always feels distant until it's right in front of you. You'll convince yourself you have more time. You'll assume there'll be another opportunity, but that's the lie we all buy into until reality proves otherwise. You don't want to be that person, the one who looks back with 1,000 what-ifs. What if you had started? What if you had been disciplined? What if you hadn't made so many excuses? By then, all you'll have left are echoes of decisions you never made, days you wasted, chances you ignored. You'll realize you were never waiting for the right time. You were just running from responsibility. But you still have a choice. Today, right now. You can stop regret before it takes root. You can silence that future voice that says, "Why didn't you try harder?" by making this moment count. Not tomorrow, not later, now. And here's the truth. Results don't come from waiting. They come from showing up, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. They come from choosing discipline or delay. From choosing to be uncomfortable now instead of broken later. Your future is being built with what you do today. The question is, are you building strength or stacking regret? Because you can't have both. You either create momentum or accumulate excuses. You either feel the burn now or carry the burden later. Don't let regret be the loudest voice in your life story. Let action speak louder. Let results drown out doubt. Because if you wait, you're choosing regret. And regret doesn't ask permission. It just shows up. Results only belong to those who refuse to wait. You say you want results, but are you willing to stop waiting? Because results don't go to the most talented. They don't go to the smartest. They go to the doers, the ones who move, the ones who don't need everything to be perfect, the ones who understand that later is just fear wearing a clever disguise. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They didn't wait. They acted, even when it was messy, even when they were afraid, even when no one else believed in them. They didn't need permission to start. They gave that to themselves. You keep waiting for your situation to change before you take action. But what if your action is the very thing that changes your situation? That's the part people miss. You don't sit around hoping for results. You go out and earn them. Discipline doesn't show up at your door. You create it by showing up even when you don't feel like it. Confidence doesn't arrive first. It's built after you've done the hard thing again and again, despite your doubts. The results you're craving, the better health, the stronger mind, the deeper focus, the fulfilled purpose, they all require movement. Consistent, relentless movement. But instead, you hesitate. You wait for a spark. You scroll for motivation. You write plans and build lists and gather tools. But you don't move. You stay stuck in planning mode because it feels productive. But it's not. It's procrastination dressed in professionalism. And every day you wait, you make the mountain taller. You let fear settle in. You give your goals the impression that they don't really matter to you. But they do. You know they do. The problem is never your ability. It's your delay. And delay is the enemy of momentum. So ask yourself this. What are you waiting for? A sign, a guarantee, a perfect plan? Here it is. Your sign. Result. T's are waiting for the person who starts, not the one who waits. There are no guarantees, only commitment. There is no perfect plan, only imperfect progress. There is no later, only what you're doing right now. Your results will match your patterns, not your potential, not your wishes, your patterns. And if you don't change them now, they'll write the rest of your life for you. So don't chase results tomorrow, earn them today. The habit of waiting becomes the habit of losing. Waiting isn't a one-time decision, it's a habit, a silent, deadly one. At first it feels harmless. You tell yourself you're being cautious, thoughtful, responsible. But over time, hesitation becomes routine. Postponing your goals becomes automatic. And without realizing it, you've trained yourself to lose. Not because you're incapable, but because you've mastered the art of delay. You've convinced yourself that tomorrow will somehow be easier, that next week you'll be more focused, that next month you'll finally be ready. But you won't. Because the longer you wait, the weaker your commitment becomes. Momentum doesn't build through ideas, it builds through action. The moment you delay, you break momentum. And once it's broken, getting it back feels 10 times harder. Think about it. The people who consistently win aren't always the fastest or the strongest. They're just the most consistent. They've learned that doing the hard thing now is better than regretting it later. That action, even without certainty, will always outperform endless planning. The truth is, waiting becomes a lifestyle if you let it. You'll wait to start, then you'll wait to finish. You'll wait for permission, for clarity, for comfort, and eventually you'll wait yourself right out of your own life. Losing doesn't always look like failure. Sometimes it looks like doing almost enough, like getting close to the goal, like living a life that's fine but never fulfilling. That's what the habit of waiting does. It lowers your standards so slowly you don't even notice the dream dying. But you have a choice. You can break the habit. You can rewire your mind to take the first step, to make progress even when it's uncomfortable. And it will be uncomfortable. Growth always is. But discomfort is temporary. Regret lasts forever. Don't train yourself to tolerate inaction. Don't normalize hesitation, because what you do repeatedly becomes who you are permanently. You either become someone who moves or someone who waits, someone who acts or someone who wishes, someone who creates results or someone who collects regrets. There's no neutral, there's no middle ground. Every day you're moving in one direction or the other, toward power or toward passivity. So break the habit now. No more waiting for the right time. No more waiting to feel ready. Decide, move, execute, even if it's messy, even if it's small, because the smallest action beats the biggest intention every single time. You don't need more time, you need more truth. And the truth is this: the habit of waiting is the habit of losing. But action, that's how winners are made. The excuses you defend are the results you delay. We all have reasons, excuses, stories we tell ourselves about why we haven't started, why now isn't the right time, why it's okay to wait. I'm too tired. I'm too busy. I just need to get through this week. I'll start fresh next month. Sound familiar? But here's the hard truth. The more you defend your excuses, the longer you delay your results. Every time you justify not taking action, you give your excuses power. You feed them, you make them stronger, and slowly they become your identity. You stop seeing yourself as capable and start seeing yourself as someone who tries but never quite finishes. Excuses are easy, they always sound logical. They're designed to protect you from discomfort. But what they're really doing is protecting you from growth. And growth only happens when you challenge what feels safe. If you really want change, you have to stop being loyal to your limitations. You weren't born with excuses, you learned them from people who gave up, from a society that encourages comfort over courage, from a mindset that values perfection more than progress. But that's not your future, unless you let it be. It's time to get honest with yourself. Those excuses you've been defending, they're the walls between you and the life you say you want. You can't keep holding on to them and expect results to magically appear. You have to choose your excuses or your evolution. You don't get both. The people who win in life are not excuse-free. They just refuse to let those excuses drive their behavior. They feel tired and still show up. They feel fear and still take action. They feel overwhelmed and still move forward. And that's what separates them. The results you want aren't waiting for the perfect version of you. They're waiting for the committed version of you. The version that says, I don't care how I feel, I'm going to keep pushing. Because at some point, the pain of staying the same becomes worse than the pain of change. And when that moment comes, you either rise with change or retreat. You have to decide what kind of person you want to be. The one who tells a story about why it never happened, or the one who made it happen despite everything. Remember, the longer you protect your excuses, the longer you postpone your breakthrough. So let go, tear them down, replace them with effort, with action, with truth. Because your life doesn't respond to your reasons, it only responds to your results. You can't be both comfortable and legendary. Everyone wants success, until they realize what it demands. Because the truth is, success doesn't live in comfort. It lives in the discomfort, in the sacrifice, in the grind when you're tired, in the discipline when no one's watching, in the moments when quitting would be easier, but you keep going anyway. The people who reach legendary levels don't have easier lives. They just made a decision. Comfort isn't worth more than impact. But most people never make that decision. They chase results but cling to comfort. They say they want to grow, but they're not willing to break the habits that keep them small. They want the rewards of a disciplined life without actually being disciplined. They want the title without the test. And that's the trap. You can't live an easy life and expect extraordinary results. You can't choose comfort daily and then wonder why your life feels unfulfilled. The two don't coexist. You either sacrifice for your goals or your goals become the sacrifice. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it robs you over time. It keeps you safe but not strong, busy but not effective, alive but not truly living. If you always take the easy path, don't be surprised when your life feels empty, because fulfillment is forged in the fire of challenge. Pride comes from knowing you earned it. Not because it was handed to you, but because you bled for it, fought for it, kept going when it would have been easier to stop. That's what legendary people do. Not because they're superhuman, but because they've trained themselves to choose the hard thing again and again until it becomes who they are. Think about it. When was the last time you grew from something that was easy? Growth always comes with struggle, always comes with uncertainty, but that's where the magic lives. That's where transformation happens. Your comfort zone is quiet, but so is your progress inside it. It feels safe because nothing challenges you there, but nothing changes there either. So if you want more, you have to do more. You have to stop negotiating with your potential. Stop giving yourself an out. Stop lowering your standard just because the process got uncomfortable. Greatness doesn't happen on accident. It's built one uncomfortable choice at a time. So the next time you're tempted to play it safe, to take the easy way out, to delay the work, remember this. You can't be both comfortable and legendary. You'll have to choose. Every day you delay, the dream dies a little more. Dreams don't die overnight. They fade, slowly, quietly. With every, I'll do it tomorrow, with every, not today, they begin to weaken. And eventually, they become something you used to want, not something you fight for anymore. You tell yourself it's just a small delay, one skipped workout, one more day off, one task pushed until next week. But those small decisions add up, and before long, your dream isn't alive anymore. It's just a memory. This is how it happens, not with failure, but with neglect. You think you have time. You think tomorrow will give you more energy, more motivation, more focus. But tomorrow doesn't owe you anything, and neither does your dream. It only responds to action, not intention. There are people out there right now living the life you say you want. Not because they're better than you, but because they stopped waiting, they stopped delaying, they stopped treating their goals like options and started treating them like necessities. Every day you delay is a day you train yourself to accept less progress, less momentum, less purpose. And eventually you don't even recognize the version of you that once wanted so much more. That's the danger of waiting. It's not just time you're losing, it's you. You lose confidence in yourself. You lose faith in your ability to change. You stop trusting your word. And when you no longer believe yourself, how can you expect your life to follow? If your dream matters, you don't get to treat it casually. You don't get to see how it goes. You show up for it. You bleed for it. You make it non-negotiable. Every day is a chance to bring it closer or let it slip further away. Every decision counts. Every action matters because dreams aren't guaranteed. They're earned. And one day you'll either be living the life you worked for or grieving the one you abandoned. So what's it going to be? More delays, more excuses, or more action, more fire, more commitment? You don't get to keep your dream and keep postponing it at the same time. You either feed it daily or you let it die slowly. But make no mistake, every day you delay, the dream dies a little more. Later doesn't exist, only the life you choose now. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. Later isn't real. It's not a place, it's not a time, it's not a strategy. It's a mental escape, a way to avoid the discomfort of action. You keep saying you'll start later, fix it later, change later. But what is later really? A fantasy, a trap, a quiet excuse dressed up as patience. And while you're waiting for that imaginary later to arrive, life keeps moving without you. Let this sink in. Your future is not waiting for you. Your goals are not on pause. Time doesn't freeze because you're unsure. Every second you hesitate, the world keeps turning. And every second you act, your life begins to transform. You will never change your life someday. You'll change it on a specific day. And that day has to be today. You've been blessed with now. This moment, this breath, this chance to decide that enough is enough. To stop making promises you don't keep. To stop telling yourself you'll do it when things settle down. Because life doesn't settle. And it's not supposed to. Progress lives in the chaos. Growth thrives in the storm. And success, it rewards the ones who take ownership in the middle of the mess, not the ones who wait for the perfect plan. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect you. There is only now, and what you choose to do with it. You can choose to repeat the cycle, the waiting, the delaying, the excuses, or you can choose to break it, to step up, to move forward even when you're scared, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one's clapping. Because the difference between regret and results is not luck, it's choice. You either choose to face your fears or be ruled by them. You either choose the pain of progress or the pain of staying the same. You either choose the hard now or the heartbreak later. So don't let this moment slip away, Lee. And key all the others. Don't let later steal what could have been the most powerful chapter of your life. Draw the line today. Declare it. This is where it changes. This is where I stop waiting and I start building. I stop hoping and I start doing. I stop existing and I start living. Because in the end, you only have two outcomes: the regret of what you didn't do, or the results of everything you refuse to give up on. There is no later, only regret or results. You've made it to the end, but this is where your real story begins. Because after everything you've heard, after the fire has been lit in your chest, after the lies have been exposed, and after the truth has landed hard, you're left with one question: what are you going to do now? You can't unhear this. You can't pretend you didn't feel that voice inside you rise up when you were reminded that time is not promised. You've seen it clearly now. The road forks in two directions. One leads to regret, one leads to results, and they're not chosen later, they're chosen now. Regret is built quietly, in small delays, skipped chances, days filled with scrolling instead of building, wishing instead of working, waiting instead of winning. It doesn't show up all at once. But one day, it hits you like a wall. That moment when you realize you had the power all along, but never used it. And by then, the time is gone. The window is closed. You don't get a second round with the same days you wasted. But results, those are different. Results don't ask how you feel. They don't care about your excuses. They respond to your consistency, your hunger, your ability to show up even when everything in you screams to wait. Results are earned in silence, in discipline, in the early mornings and late nights, in the days you don't post about, in the sacrifices no one else sees but you feel deep in your bones. And those results, they don't just build your future, they build you. So what will it be? Will you be another person who talks about it, or the one who finally does something about it? Will you look back with pride, or carry the weight of what might have been? Remember this: life doesn't pause. It doesn't slow down so you can catch up. It keeps moving. And either you move with it, or you get left behind. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to feel 100 ready. You just need to begin today. Because later isn't real. Later is a dream that kills dreams. Start with one action, one step, one choice to stop waiting and start building. Because this life, it's yours. But only if you take it. The time is now. The power is yours. The decision is final. There is no later, only regret or results. And the choice has always been yours.